right, hello and welcome to Have I Got News for You's first ever live stream. I'm your moderator, Matt Midovich, an editor at LateNighter.com and publisher of the Matt's Inside Line TV newsletter. Joining us today, we have I Got News for You host Roy Wood Jr.
Woo!
Yes, I'm here.
That's a good thing, too. Have I Got News for You team captains Amber Ruffin.
Yay.
Coming to us remotely from Switzerland? Where are you?
That's right.
Norway?
She's in Davos for the.
Yeah.
And Michael Ian Black.
Hello.
And we also have series creator and the U.S. version's executive producer, Jimmy Mulville.
Yeah. I'm in Greenland.
All right, you taped the premiere last night. How did it go?
You're the host. You answer.
I thought it was fun. I felt like we were right back in stride. I know that we took 7 weeks off. We wrapped the week before Thanksgiving. So that's like a good, no, it's about 8 weeks.
Yeah,
8 weeks cold. But I felt like we were right back in the rhythm. I just like the fact that the audience is just alive now. And like it's so many more people because this is season 4. So it's so many more people there who actively watch the show versus like episodes 1 through 10 where we're all kind of learning each other. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, I agree. You take a certain amount of time off, and I was just living in the woods, enjoying being unemployed, and then kind of dreading coming back. And then as we start shooting, I'm like, oh wait, this is really fun. It was nice. It was nice to be back.
Jimmy, you come in from the UK.
I do.
Specifically for the premieres of each episode to watch the taping.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind when you watch a taping of the US version?
Well, my job very much is to watch other people work, as you know. That's the function of the executive producer. It's always, I come out here and it's so much news, as we know.
Just a bit.
Happening here. So our recordings are long, but I have to say last night I thought Amber and Michael.
Michael is
and
my name. My name is Michael.
Michael and Ronnie. It's just like they've been doing it for years. They've been doing it for like 3 seasons, which it's not. When we've been doing the show in the UK for 35 years, and the 35 years was basically my plan was to do R&D for 35 years and then launch it in America, which I
think we're ready to take it on the road.
This version is different to the one in the UK, but it's a fantastic version. And I remember once I was pitching it to an agent here, and she said, it's very British. I've seen the show, it's very British. And I said, yes, I know. I said, my plan, it's crazy, but my plan is to get it written by Americans, produced by Americans, with Americans performing in it for an American audience, and fingers crossed that will mitigate its Britishness. And she looked at me very bleakly and went, that might work. And it has. I mean, I'm so, honestly, this has been a fantastic experience for me.
We've been spending 250 years trying to mitigate our Britishness.
Well, yeah. How's that going, by the way?
Not great.
Amber, you guys do tape longer than an hour, obviously, on tape nights. From your experience, what do you think tends to get cut?
Everything that Michael says. Every third word out of Michael's mouth is something that has to go in the trash. No, I feel like we kind of get lost in, the real answer is plenty of stuff that Michael says whenever we say something that's too terrible or inappropriate. But I think we really do like each other. Like, I don't care for Michael's first answer when he was like, it's actually fun. He loves it. He freaking loves it. We all love it. So don't act like that. And that's the part that gets cut is when we're just like kind of enjoying each other instead of focusing on what our job is.
Yeah, because it really is a vehicle. Like if you look at the show and you distill it down, it is a vehicle for people to get the gist of everything that happened this week that is of relevance to know, and the players and the people responsible around those particular stories. So once we've done that, as an editor, I know Jimmy is going, just cut out all that other, because they're just being friends and fun and the jokes, but we've digressed all the way down another road. Like I can already tell you right now, I know something that's gonna get cut from tomorrow night, from this week's episode. We had a bit about Amy Klobuchar raising $17,000 from ex-boyfriends when she ran for
Senate.
Whatever. Okay. And then we go around the horn and we go, well, how much money could you get from your particular exes? And it's just all us confessing how terrible we've been in previous relationships. I know that's getting cut.
I wouldn't be too
It's
sure
great.
about-
It's great for YouTube.
But the thing is that, you know, that stuff, I think, is the glue that keeps the team together. Because the show is a quiz about the... By the way, pitching it to executives here over the... I mean, Jim Biederman and I have made 3 pilots of this. In fact, Michael was in 2 of them. And trying to pitch it to an American network where they say, it's a quiz? Yeah. What do they win? Nothing. How
Our point total?
How are the points?
No.
It doesn't matter. And they say, what the hell is this? And I said, well, it's a comedy show about the news masquerading as a quiz. And inside, if you get the chemistry right, the 3 people will become a little sitcom.
Right.
And actually, the relationships between the 3 of them, you'll see them grow on air. It becomes more and more enjoyable when Amber tells Roy off, or, you know, when Roy throws Michael under the bus for knowing nothing about Black history and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right?
and then there was a time I thought, I can't remember who the rapper was. I thought you didn't know the rapper, and then you just started dropping verses verbatim of this particular. And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. So yeah, it really is a fun family, but I think that at its core, it's still about just delivering what happened this week with a little bit of commentary. And then on top of that, you have, to the sitcom analogy, you have 2 guest stars that drop in every week with us with varying degrees of likability.
What can you possibly mean by that?
And then it's how is Michael going to interact with that person? How is Amber interacting with that person? Or I mean, I think Bomani was not a fan of Tim Burchett, Bomani Jones. We had him on with Tim Burchett that particular week.
So
Andy Richter's on this week, and he's always unlikable. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
So we have the season premiere tonight, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, CNN.
Yeah, and I hope fans of the show can all gather and watch together. I mean, you know, gather virtually, but
It's an avid fan base.
it is and growing. And one of the lovely things about this show is having people approach Roy or Amber or me and say things like, "Thank you," just because a lot of shows that talk about politics don't talk about politics in the way that we talk about them. We talk about it in the way that I think you sitting around your table talk about them. Like, what are we doing? Like, I hate to think that we're biased, even though we clearly are. But the circumstances of our nation sort of demand bias in this moment. I like to think that in a Democratic administration, we will be just as tough on them. I hope at some point we have a Democratic administration so that we can be just as tough on them.
Jimmy, talk about the difference between the UK version and the US version, and specifically UK humor versus American humor.
We're younger. We're
Yeah.
a lot younger.
And of course, we speak very different languages. It isn't that different, to be honest. In fact, Roy came over and hosted the UK version, and there are plans afoot. Not that I've told Amber or Michael that we're going to try and kidnap them and get them over for an edition, because actually we love American humor. We know American shows we watch all the time, and I know that Americans selectively watch British humor, and so there's not that much of a difference. I think a lot's made. I tell you what is different is that I was told that panel shows do not work in America. That was the kind of conventional wisdom, and as we know, we work in a business where conventional wisdom hardly is ever borne out when you get an outlier that breaks through the barrier and gets onto the screen in front of an audience. And clearly what's happened with this show is that it was Jim Biederman, who's the executive producer, who can't be on this podcast because he's busy in the edit right now upstairs. And he rang me and said, oh, an Englishman's taken over CNN. And I knew who the Englishman was. It was a guy called Sir Mark Thompson, who I'd known for 35 years. A brilliant executive at the BBC who commissioned Have I Got News for You? So I just rang him and said, you know, Mark, how about Have I Got News for You? I'm pitching it because I don't have to pitch it to you because you know the show. I don't have to go through the endless rigmarole of trying to make it clear to this American executive what this show is. And he said, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We'll have it on during the election. I said, yeah, because it'll be a crazy election. And of course, what happens is you put the show in front of an audience and the audience decide, not some executive with the conventional wisdom of these things don't work. Because our business is full of people who apparently know that things don't work. And when they work, they stand alongside them and say, I always knew it was going to work.
I was there hanging out with the audience last night at the taping, and the belly laughs are so loud and hard and frequent. They just have a blast watching the show.
The one big difference is your audiences, your live audiences, are about, on average, the age median is about 50 years younger than our audience. I mean, it's a great young audience, and I'm hoping that they're all watching today. But it was alive, and as Roy said, now you're getting a reaction which is, oh, it's back, and we want it back, and that's great.
Well, let's talk about favorite game, quiz, panel shows when we were growing up as kids. Amber, did you have a favorite?
Growing up as a kid, my favorite, you know what I do like, and not growing up as a kid, growing up as an adult, is Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's one of my favorite shows, and I discovered it a couple of years ago, probably like 10, and love it. And every time the year ends, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it this year. Great. I'm going to write this down next to me.
Something
So
to
Big
do.
Fat Quiz of the Year is my shit.
I've never heard of that. What is that?
Me neither.
What?
Explain it to the Americans.
So it's a quiz on Channel 4 where they gather together some really funny people, and they literally go back through the year, and they pack up the year in an hour or maybe an hour and a half. And it's something that we could do. I mean,
I
something
was just going to say we should steal that.
But the BBC did do that back in the day. They would get us to do a kind of compilation show. But it is it's not that dissimilar to our show, really. And I'm glad that Amber's found it. See, there is no difference. I mean, that's the mythology, is that that we have a different sense of humor. Well, sure. Here's the thing. I'll be honest with you. Nobody on the UK version high fives. We'd find that just so awkward. Just touching someone.
Try it.
Yeah.
What do they
See,
do?
that's-
Do they just do like a...
Right. That's just awkward,
Intimate.
What about you, Roy? Favorite game or quiz show growing up?
I'd say quiz show. I mean, Jeopardy. But if we're going panel, Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. Because that was when I first started becoming more politically aware. That's Jon Stewart, Rise of Jon Stewart era, Comedy Central. And then I enjoyed the sports reporters on ESPN on Sunday mornings with John Saunders and Mitch Albom and all of those guys. And it was more, that felt more like UK Have I Got News, where it's four refined gentlemen in blazers, and we're going to have discourse about sports. And I'll tell you why you're wrong, and we're still friends. But like kind of that back and forth of, I could learn about the undercurrent of what was happening within sports, because everything the whole week on SportsCenter in that era was just highlights. There was no debate shows. Pardon the Interruption wasn't even a thing yet.
It was like the McLaughlin Group for sports.
Yes, and so this is the one day where we sit and go, now let's really look back closer at this particular thing and look at the causation of it. And I found that just so interesting. Like those were the two that I was like always locked in on.
And Michael?
I always liked, when I was very young, in the 70s and 80s, those panel shows, the game shows that like Match Game or like, there were a bunch of them where you would just get some sort of like random 70s celebrities on a panel making jokes with contestants, Hollywood Squares, those kinds of things.
This Is Your Life, wasn't that one of them?
I don't know that I ever saw This Is Your Life. But the idea that you would get these sort of funny people together in what felt like their off hours, just sort of hanging out and goofing, I always really responded to, and that's exactly what we're doing on this show. And I mean, the prizes on this show are even worse than on those shows. But the spirit of it is the same.
If I may participate, mine was, this is a kind of a deep cut, The Liars Club. Anybody remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
It was
I
a
don't know.
panel
Yeah,
of
yeah,
celebrity contestant panel. They would hand around some weird, obscure object, and they had to guess what it was.
Right.
And then the civilian contestants had to guess who was telling the truth.
It's like the object version of To Tell the Truth. Instead
Exactly.
of a person, you're dealing with an object.
It's something
Yeah.
that was used to core an apple in 1738 or something. Amber, what makes for a great guest?
What makes for a great guest is, you know what? Like, lots of times you would think it's the funniest guest, but I oftentimes love it when our guest knows exactly what's going on in the world. And when we ask them a question, they know the answer and they know the history behind the answer and, have a rundown for us, like in a nice little soundbite. Because I really sit down at that panel and very often find out what has happened in the world on that show in real time.
I made the joke on the show that Amber gets her news from this show.
This week, that was super true.
You said that to me before the show. You said, I've got no idea what's been happening this week. And that's great because then you see somebody who's us on the screen, they're living it. I remember it was a kind of thing that Amber had in the first season where she kept saying, I didn't know that. And it was one of the funniest bits in the show. It was charming.
Well, when she found out that Cheryl Hines had married RFK Jr.
That was it. That was the moment.
on our show.
And then she goes, we have 5 minutes of conversation about RFK. And she says, wait, we need to come back to the original thing.
Cheryl Hines?
Yeah, I think what makes a bad guest is a guest who deliberately tries to be funny on the show. And that's generally speaking, it's the politicians. On both sides. It's the politicians who come in and go, oh, I made a joke.
Same in the UK. That's exactly what happens in the UK. Is they come on with stuff, with shtick.
Right.
Oh boy, and it
Yeah,
is.
I mean, if J.D. Vance has taught us anything, it's that politicians can't tell jokes.
We told him before he's not coming on. Every week he says, "Can I come on?" Because he said, "I want the American public to see the funny side of me." But we say, maybe next season.
Yeah.
All right, well, this isn't Ask Me Anything, so we got lots of people ready to ask you anything and everything. We're going to move into our live AMA. We have some questions ready to go from earlier submissions, so we're going to jump into those while you viewers at home send in your questions live. Everybody ready?
Oh.
Yeah, let's
All
do
right.
it.
Number one, how well did you all know each other before you started on this show?
I didn't know Amber. Didn't know Jimmy. I met you in a green room once at
Festival.
Yeah, something. And no, we didn't really know each other. I didn't really know these guys at all.
We all knew of each other.
Yeah.
Amber and I have crossed paths some at 30 Rock, but I'm trying to think of a time outside of me being on Seth where you and I would have even bumped shoulders, maybe like some random SNL function or something. But like, we were all aware and had respect for one another. Unless I'm wrong, Amber, I'm trying to think.
I knew of you, but I didn't have respect for you.
Hey, Michael, be nice.
I feel like we met at a premiere of This or That.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's such a
it
good
just-
If I ever
movie.
said anything helpful.
But it's the Daily Show late night universe where you're all kind of
But there's also
in
a
the same
thing
soup.
among comics that you just speak the same language. It may take a few minutes to sort of understand the dialect, but once you do,
Yeah.
you hone in pretty quickly.
Yeah, and then from that you start gaining a little bit of chemistry. So now, we go out and have drinks some nights after the show, and like we'll sit for 2 hours and just watch a game at a pub. And it's to the point now where I can be talking to a guest to my right, and the guest can say something, and I can clock Michael simply move. I can see him literally shift his weight in the chair, and I go, oh, yeah, here we go. And now I can turn and know that's, and you start.
He's locked and loaded.
And you start learning how, in a way, their chemistry, getting out of the way of that, and just letting Amber and Michael just Kobe and Shaq that shit.
Or Roy and Amber, Kobe and Shaq that shit. I mean, I often find myself sitting back as Amber is lecturing you on your inappropriateness.
I can't remember the episode last season. Amber, it was Akilah Hughes was there. I don't remember who the other black person was on the other side.
Well, they all look the same to you guys. That's not right. That's racist.
I don't remember what the setup was, but the punchline was all of the black people on the panel trying to get Michael to say the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
And we have not rehearsed this. We have not planned this. This is not premeditated. And just the chemistry of just those moments that only comes from knowing each other and also knowing that.
I have never felt dirtier in my life than when you were hovering over me, egging me on. It's horrible.
Well, there was a moment in the show
Horrible.
last night. I won't detail it in case it gets cut, but Amber's just like, Michael, it's too early in the show for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were just talking about politicians who can't land a joke. Our next question, who has the best sense of humor in the Trump regime? Is it Kash Patel?
Ooh.
He was trolling us with that photo, right?
Which photo?
I'm not sure what
His
photo.
coked out eyes,
Yeah.
like those photos, where he's like, oh, like every time Patel is like that.
The best sense of humor
It's a
in
good
the
Honestly funny.
They're unintentionally funny. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
I mean, but it's like, yeah, it's unintentional funny, but I think, are they aware of it? Like,
well, Trump's never cracked a joke in his life.
No.
I mean,
Although we
he's-
are often told
How
he was
hilarious.
just joking.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
he says mean things about people, which can make people laugh because it
Because it's cruel.
chimes into their meanness. But you know, the best kind of humor is self-deprecating, and he's never going to do that.
I like to think that Melania, like for the 25 years that she's been married to Trump or whatever it is, I like to think that it's just a bit. Like she's just doing a bit. Like she's just a chick from Illinois.
that's
you know what I
interesting.
mean? She's just a girl from Illinois. She puts on the accent.
That'd be great.
Oh.
I wonder when it's all over, she's having a show written and she goes on tour.
Like Mike Tyson is doing stand up now. Maybe Melania will do stand up at some point.
Me
in
and
the future.
Trump.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'd pay and I'd go and watch that.
I don't know, but that question, is that in the sense of who from the regime we think would do well on the show?
Oh.
Like, sense of humor like that?
No,
or
I think just in the
a
public
good
and the-
hoot to share a beer
Who
with.
in their public personas trying
I like
to
that
make
guy.
jokes?
What's the guy Bovino? The
Greg Bovino?
Oh, I love.
Buzzcut,
I think you get him with his coat on. I think he just gets laughs. He gets visual laughs.
That's the INS, that's the immigration guy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
that's-
that's tough.
That's the Gestapo guy. He's funny.
Well, we brushed up on this a minute ago in my question. Someone's asking, can you talk about any specific moments or bits that ended up cut from the show, maybe because they were too controversial, too partisan, or even too satirical?
I don't think anything like that. Anything that is at that degree of difficulty always makes it on.
And can I just say something on behalf of CNN? Is that they, unlike the first season was shown on the BBC, and the BBC had issues with some of the content because they felt it was, you know, impartial, unfair, whatever it was. And it struck me that we are allowed to get away with a lot more in the USA than we are in the UK in terms of freedom of speech, because actually, you know, your First Amendment, and that's the kind of the vague hope now is that we can continue to have the free speech. So we're part of a soft opposition to what's going on. So to be honest with you, I can't think of one thing that CNN said, you cannot do that.
They have been amazing. When I first auditioned for this, the executive at CNN said that her charge, it was relayed to me that we should all think after each show that we had gone too far, that we might be in danger of getting fired for having gone too far. That's how far they wanted us to go. That was my instruction when we first got it. And they, to their credit, have been totally hands-off in terms of content. They let us say whatever we want. It's been great. I often leave feeling nervous, which I think is probably good.
Whenever you open your mouth, I feel nervous.
Yes, understood.
Yeah, but I think it's also a credit to the people at CNN giving us the freedom to find the emotions that we want to live within. Because some of this stuff is not funny. There are days where Amber is very much locked in on the seriousness of the issue, and that there is no punchline, and we get to sit in that the same because we want the show to be funny and jokey. It's like, no, there's no jokes here. Here's exactly what's happening, and here's my literal, like, the vomit of emotion that'll come from you sometimes, Amber. Like, that's the type of stuff that I know in my time at The Daily Show, you were not necessarily, I don't want to say allowed to do, but you were challenged by the producers and writers. Okay, let's figure out how to make this funny. I understand the emotion that's driving the point you want to make, but we need to have a couple of punchlines to get to that point.
And I don't do punchlines. That has really helped me. No, but we did have the opposite at late night where I think it was after George Floyd's murder, where I was just like, I'm going to talk to the camera about the millions of times I've been stopped by the cops for no fucking reason. And that cracked everything open for me a little bit, where I was like, oh, there's also room for me to be a human being in here, especially now when we are all terrified. I think because it feels good when you're scared to look at an adult and have the adult be like, I am also scared. Welcome. Feels great.
Yeah, like after the correspondence dinner fiasco when they rescinded the invitation. I don't remember how we got into it on the show, but for Amber to say what she said about the press and media and the reasons for that, we still air on a news network, man. And they are the press and the media. Could you not talk shit about and like, no, here's the truth about what's happening. So I just don't think we've ever been censored in any way. Like, I've never seen the heaviest moments get diluted and edited out.
And so CNN, like the BBC, they allow you to bite the hand that feeds you. And they realize that's a healthy way to be. It's actually, I think, a signal of a strong network that you can allow that kind of material to be broadcast without worrying about what they think of you.
Amber just dropped a F-bomb a second ago. I was wondering, in tonight's episode, you two have a back and forth where you suggested you had a bet, not a bet, but you agreed before the show that neither of you were going to swear.
That's right.
Was that real?
Oh, yeah. No, but we were talking. One of our guests is Janice Min. She's an editor and the founder of The Ankler. And we were in her dressing room talking about how much we just sort of inadvertently curse on the show. And so we made a deal right before the show that we weren't going to curse at all for this episode. And then Amber broke that in, I want to say, 90 seconds.
It was about 90 seconds.
Sat down in the chair and instantly forgot.
First story, Trump and the economy. This mother...
Wait, are we not allowed to cuss right now?
Oh, you can.
It's the internet.
I got
It's the
scared.
Wild West. Next
Fuck
question. How do you pick guests? Do you have a wish list at the beginning of the season? And who is each panelist's dream guest?
Well, we're very lucky, the three of us, that we don't have to do anything on that front. We work. It's fair to say Roy, Amber, and I work almost not at all. Roy works more than Amber and I. He comes in a couple hours before the show to go over, because he's the host. He's got to sort of drive the thing. But Amber and I, we show up about 2 hours before taping, and then we leave as soon as taping's over. So we're not. The three of us have nothing to do with picking the guests. Although, I think all of us have suggested guests.
Yeah, we've suggested.
to producers.
But even in suggesting a guest, I can't tell you who to pair them with, and I don't know how that's going to work. And like that part of it is a recipe that I don't want to be involved in. Because now, I would imagine now, Jimmy, at this point, it's all incoming. You're not asking people anymore.
People are queuing up. Yeah, I mean, it's great. And I was talking to Jim Beedham, the executive producer, before we kicked off last night, and he said, well, no, we're virtually booked for the whole season. And because people now watch the show, they like the show. Politicians actually in the US seem to be more willing to come on the show than we do in the UK. I think, and they come on, and some of them, I mean, even the people maybe whose politics, I quite like it when you get someone who's from the, I would say, the show is liberal, ish, and it's great when you get someone from the right wing on. And they've been game, actually. I think even Tim Burchett, who was talking about
Republican Tennessee.
UFOs.
Yeah.
Because I know you're obsessed with
I am.
with UFOs, and he said something that a UK politician would never say. He'd say, of course there are people out there's more civilizations out there. And I think Roy said, well, how would you know? He said, well, have you ever stepped out on your porch at night? We don't have porches back in the UK. You step out on the porch at night, look up at the stars and say, are we the best that God can do? You never hear a UK politician say that. They're quite open. They come on and they open up. And I think we've discovered also a regular bunch of comedians, brilliant comedians, who I think now will be part of our larger family, like Andy Richter. It's just fantastic. He
Sam
comes on.
Jay knocks it out the park every time.
And Dave Foley came on last year. He was great. And I thought Congresswoman Crockett was fantastic as well.
Oh, yeah.
Jasmine
She's been on
Crockett
twice.
2 times.
She is just fun. My wife, by the way, she said, you got to get her back on? I said, all right, Karen, leave me alone. I'm not booking the show. She loves Jasmine Crockett.
Well, I think I don't know, I don't want to speak for these guys. I would love it if we were able to get more conservative
Yes.
people on. The issue that I think we're having right now is because this administration is so caustic. It's very hard to transition from somebody defending the actions of this regime, this specific regime, and then start talking about the world of pop culture and the silliness, that we do in the second half of the show, because those first stories are going to be so contentious. It's very hard to have somebody come on and defend ICE, for example, shooting somebody in Minneapolis, and then do jokes about J-Lo. Like it's just very tough right now. I hope in the future, should we have a future both as a show and a country, that we will have more sort of normal times where the stories aren't quite so life and death.
Amber, do you have a dream guest, either from the comedy or political sphere?
Abe Lincoln would be good.
I don't have a dream guest. I feel like we do a good job, and it's nice that each thing varies from show to show.
When you say each thing, are you talking about people now?
Yeah, I'm calling people things. You cute little thing. But I do like that it's like sometimes it's comedy heavy and sometimes we have actual adults on the show. It feels good and it makes a nice little variety.
I wouldn't mind having a few more actors. We haven't had any actors as of yet. There's a lot of actors that are very vocal and knowledgeable about things. I think a lot of them are just too prominent and fear what their reputation and the repercussions would be. But I've had off-the-record conversations at award shows with A-listers who watch this show and who watch Daily Show, and they watch the whole late-night sphere of content, and they're very astute. And I'm like, well, come on the show. I got this $300 million movie. So I would love to see more people that you would be surprised to know that they know those things.
To that end,
about
I'd love to have
politics.
athletes on. Same thing. Like, I'd love
Yeah.
to have people from all sort of walks of popular culture come in, because at the end of the day, we are all just citizens of this country, and people have opinions. They pay attention, and I'd like our audience to see those kinds of people express themselves in ways that are unusual.
All right, I think that's an open invitation to Travis Kelce.
Yes, Travis is a dear friend.
Is that the smart one?
right,
One of them's more of shirt off vibes. Jason's the fun time. Travis the good. Okay. Yeah.
Next question. How did CNN settle on you three as hosts, captains for this lovely show?
Settle.
I really enjoy this, and it's a good crossover from the UK one. I don't know how much you can speak to why they chose you, but maybe talk about, when they approached you, your initial reaction.
I'm the diversity hire, and proud to be.
Yeah. Is this a British question? Because they've used the word lovely.
Oh, it might be.
They do say that this is a good crossover from the UK one.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, the Brits are very protective of that old IP. I was on Reddit our first 10 episodes to see what, some people think about over the pond. They're like, it's serviceable,
Yes.
which is like a standing ovation from Brits.
My expectations were low, so they weren't. I was.
Yeah, that's literally what
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
saying.
That's
now they rock with it.
I have the UK Telegraph review. Cheerfully competent. And nowhere near the embarrassment it might have been.
You
Which
see,
is high
I'll take it.
praise.
You can see why you rebelled against us in 1776, can't you? You can just see that we look down our nose. And no, honestly, it's one of the you're never sure, but then when you see the chemistry, when you see it, you think, it's going to work. And because we did it in 1990, accidentally we found the right chemistry because we did a pilot of this show in 1989, which was so awful. But in those days, the BBC had booked the series with the pilot. It was the pilot and the series. And they said, you'll learn from the pilot to do the series. But they didn't realize how bad the pilot would be. And they tried to back out of the series. And they got me into the office. And the guy, a brilliant guy called Alan Yentob, who was the president of the network, said, do you know how to fix this? I looked him in the face and said, yes, I lied. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. I went back to the office. And the host who'd hosted the show, didn't like hosting the show. We agreed with him. We didn't like him hosting the show, and in the end, it was with a month to go. A friend of mine suggested somebody who I'd worked with on the radio, because we have like talk radio in the UK, and we did a comedy show with him, and we booked him, and he just was like a middle-class guy. Then we had a working-class guy, all guys, by the way, all white males. I pitched a woman to be the host because we had this very funny woman called Sandy Toksvig, and the BBC said, "No, we think he's funnier." Anyway, so we had these three guys, and they represented the three class divisions in Britain, and it just worked. But it was accidental. It wasn't like we intended it. And similarly with, because we knew that works, we knew Michael a bit, and then we got Amber, I think, in on a day with some other people, and we saw Michael and Amber just spark off each other. And you can build with that. That's going to work really well. And then we met Roy in a hotel, didn't we?
Yes, in the lobby. You need to add where in the hotel.
Yes, I mean it wasn't a Harvey Weinstein moment. I didn't get you to my room at 2 a.m. with a very handy yucca plant in the corner.
Yeah,
No,
we sat and had drinks.
Well, I never asked you, what did you make of us that night? Because I've never asked you that question.
My assessment, the thing I came into the conversation, I was only trying to assess one thing. Can we get off the jokes we want to get off, and are we going to try and make sure that we're making fun of both sides? And at that time, and this is under Biden, I think, when we met. Trump hadn't run it back
That's
yet.
right.
And I left that conversation. I was like, oh yeah, this seems like they know what they're doing, and the network is behind them. Yeah, yeah. If they'll have me, I'd love to host it.
But
Yeah.
Roy, when you heard it was CNN, because when I found out it was CNN, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if this will work on CNN. And then it has oddly turned out to be a fantastic fit, which quite surprised me.
Me too. And I think we did 3 pilots with entertainment networks. And of course, we did one in the week where Obama was reelected. And we edited the show and showed it to a group of executives. And one guy said, "It's a bit liberal." I said, "Well, he won. He beat the other guy, and we're just telling you that's what happened." So, and they say it's a bit kind of newsy, the show. Well, it's called Have I Got News for You? Yeah, can it be like not as newsy, more like poppy? Whereas CNN say, no, just be as newsy as you like. And of course, what happens when you see the shape of the show, you deal with the big, heavy stories, and then when you go into later rounds, you're just enjoying the eccentricity of other things that are happening in America. And by the end of the show, you've actually forgotten about Trump for 10 minutes, which I think is almost a benefit to the nation. We're not thinking about Trump for 10 minutes. And so I think that in that sense, CNN is a great network because they're not embarrassed by the news. They want you to talk about the news, as Roy said, and discuss the news as newsy as you like. And then we can spin off and do all kinds of weird and wonderful things about baby photographs and stuff like that. And you leave the audience with a sense of kind of, great. These are funny people. Yes, we've ticked off all the boxes about what we should know about, but now we're just enjoying each other, which I think is great.
Roy, maybe you can speak to this next one. Since you've been a guest on the UK version, you host ours. How is hosting How I Got News for You UK different from hosting the US version? What do you think?
I would say the jokes are much more surgical over there. But I mean, but they're just British humor, man. Like it's just so quick and clever, and you didn't even realize the joke hit you. Like, where'd they come? Oh, you insulted me. Oh, okay, great. Let's keep it moving. I think that UK audiences also have a different relationship with the show. So you can be a lot more edgier. You can be a lot more insulting. And there's not this pearl clutching that happens sometimes in America. Like, I know we had a joke about Stephen Hawking impersonators that is in tonight's episode that I know would have landed funnier faster. We got there with our version of the conversation, but I just think there's a certain shorthand that the presenters have with the audience that we are still building.
Yeah,
so they can be
they've had
edgier
35
quicker.
years.
Yeah, they can be edgier quicker, where we have to slowly, which is why Amber's, what she said to Michael is kind of a truth. It's too early in the show for that joke, but in 10 minutes,
It was a winner, man.
Yeah.
It was a winner.
they'll be with it. But yeah, it was a very good time. The one thing I noticed in terms of how the show is structured from the producerial standpoint, the lighter content is not as light as our light content, if that makes sense. Because they can sit in the serious a little bit longer and criticize and have more discourse. Where America, our heavy stuff is so damn heavy that you've got to check out sooner and talk about baby photos or talk about a Anderson Cooper picture from whenever, or did you know he was on a game show back in the day, or clips of me on Jeopardy bombing. Like, you need that faster. So I think that was probably the biggest difference, which is like 20, 30 minutes into the show, we were still doing hard news in the UK version. I'm like, oh, shit, we would.
I hope that Who Dat Baby stays in tonight.
Yeah.
That was a great new addition.
But can I just say, Roy was an immediate hit on the show, and the BBC asked me now on a regular basis, is Roy going to come back? I said, well, we tried to get him back before Christmas, but he was doing a live gig in London. Get him, and like I said, I'd like to entice Michael and Amber over, and maybe even get the two regular guys from the UK to come and sit in.
Be amazing.
And because it's a little universe now, I think. And I'm hoping that on YouTube that maybe what we'll do is combine them both and maybe launch a YouTube channel.
Be great. I have become such a fan of the British show. I love it. Like I love those guys. I mean, I just think they play so well off each other. They're both so funny and both so smart. I'm just a fan now.
You've created an HIGNFY universe.
Yes.
It's the cinematic universe.
From
Got
your
it.
lips to God's ears.
Got another live question coming in. Which guest surprised you in a good way?
The former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger, who's been on a couple times. He's got a great sense of humor and rolls with it really well. The unflappable guy. He was really good. As far as politicians go, he was really, really good. Paula Poundstone, great comedian, came on and just destroyed. Was so funny.
Oh, yeah.
And like for 2 hours.
Never spoke above 2 decibels either. Just monotone, but just murdering.
Yeah, so funny.
I would have said Adam Kinzinger too, because he let us rip on him quite a bit. I was like, ha ha ha, I am dopey. And I was like, who acts like that? What politician acts like that? That guy was great.
Yeah, he was a man who was comfortable in his own skin, and for a Republican, a current Republican, that is pretty unique. Because what I've noticed about the right wing also in Britain is they're always banging on about, oh, for goodness sake, it was just a joke. I was mentioning there about your ethnicity. It was a joke. Whereas when you land a joke on them, they end up wanting to sue you. They're so thin-skinned. Whereas Adam came on and he took it on the chin. I thought he was great. Yeah.
Who? There was another politician who I feel like we were making fun of. Tim Ryan from Ohio. I feel like we were making fun of him a bit. He took it really well. Anybody who can come on and have a sense of humor about themselves.
Yes.
Kara Swisher, her first appearance.
Great.
Yeah.
She and I were going back and forth making fun of each other. It was fantastic.
Great.
And we don't know each other at all, But if you can bust balls and take it, that's great. That really makes
She
for a
called
great
you a
guest.
lesbian, right?
Yes, she
said
did.
you look like a lesbian.
Yeah, she said I look like a lesbian, and she wasn't wrong.
Are you a lesbian?
I have been known to dabble with women.
Okay, fine. You kind of help out when they're busy.
Who makes each of you laugh these days? Amber?
Ooh.
Who makes me laugh? Thank you for asking. You know what the horrible, shitty, real answer is? I'm knee deep in TikTok all day,
Yeah.
all night, and it's just like it really makes you realize, like, because during the day, all day, every day, I'm at a computer. I'm like, I gotta figure this out. And fucking some 12-year-old is lapping my ass on TikTok, making me cry laughing. And it's like, I worked hard for this. And this comes naturally to this child who is better at this than me. So I really do like the strangers of TikTok. I'm sorry that's my answer, but it is.
Roy?
I'm still watching like just old sitcoms right now. Like I'm in a weird Martin rabbit hole and Aqua Teen Hunger Force
Oh, okay.
and Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like those are the shows that I still like kind of watch. But like if we're going just like
Is that a recent thing, or is it?
No, these are all
Okay.
10, 20-year-old dinosaur shows. Well, it's Always Sunny.
No,
still
but
on,
your interest, because you're doing a sitcom, aren't you?
Yeah. We're doing a barbershop remake for Amazon, but the idea of like just what do I sit down and pop in and just chuckle at? I still watch The Daily Show. Like those are still. I didn't leave because it was a bad show. It was a good show, so I still like getting informed. So that still makes me laugh. I kind of dabble in podcasts. Like I'll listen to Bomani Jones pretty much on a regular basis, and pardon the interruption. And like I more seek information than laughs. I mean, I have stand-ups I like, but I don't really watch anybody on a regular basis and go, this is the one you got to see. Other than maybe like Ali Sadiq. Ali Sadiq is still like appointment viewing stand-up for me now. But outside of that, that's where I laugh.
Well, you mentioned the classic sitcoms. I fall into this routine now where I'm waiting for primetime TV to start. I'll be watching the MASH reruns on MeTV. MASH was dynamite. I mean, I knew it back in the day when I watched it, when it was originally on, but that every line was just like so sharp and just funny, and it's a great show. Michael, who's making Michael Ian Black laugh?
This is such a lame answer, but I'm sort of like Roy. Like I don't seek out comedy ever. I never like.
Why would you?
That's sort of how I feel. It's sort of like I do it all day. You know. You know who's been making me laugh a lot lately? And this is going to sound so corny, but it's true. My wife has been making me laugh a lot lately, and my kids have been making me laugh a lot.
How old are your kids?
I don't know.
Are you trying to make up for an argument or something?
Yes, very much.
Okay, fine.
My daughter works on this show, and I find her very funny. She's really
She
very
is.
funny.
She's got a very good sense of humor. She needs it. But it's interesting you say about humor, because I was once asked to go and speak at a panel in Germany about a show I did for Showtime called Episodes, which had Matt LeBlanc in it and things. So I'm going out there to talk about how the co-production between the UK and the US and stuff like that. And the gig was you arrive and a local journalist from the Cologne Bugle would take you into a room and interview you, whoever you were. So he got my name. He said, "You're a comedy producer?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Tell me, what is the purpose of comedy?" I thought,
Yikes.
Christ, how German. And I thought, well, it's an interesting question, I said, because obviously it's a great thing. It's an involuntary reaction we have to something we see. The Sioux Indian have a great expression saying there's only one way truth gets into the world, through tears and laughter. I think we people involved in comedy, they have a very important function. They can take very difficult notions and bring them down to a little tiny size that we can all... I said, for example, I said, Charlie Chaplin... And I stopped. And I said, "I'm really sorry. I'm about to mention Adolf Hitler." And he said, "Don't worry, it happens all the time." So I think that, the humor comes from all kinds of different ways. But I like these two guys, I don't go out and watch it. I don't watch... I do watch it professionally, but I try and do other things, because I think that the amount of psychological damage I had as a child means that I work in comedy. I don't need to go and revisit the trauma every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I find myself watching more movies now than TV shows. Just
and
because
documentaries. I like documentaries.
Yeah, my son is 9, and so we watch more movies than TV shows. And so I'm always like trying to dig in the crates and find a classic, and look at this one. And then that sends me down my own. I'm down a Steve Martin, Three Amigos, jerk rabbit hole now. And that come from trying to show him planes, trains, and automobiles. So like I find more time. I spend my free time rewatching old stuff, either to inspire me or to like educate the boy on something new. And showed him Gremlins. He didn't dig it either.
Well, he's got taste.
Yeah.
That's a very 80s movie. New question, how has hosting, Have I Got News for You, helped you grow as a comedian, Roy Wood Jr.?
It's made me lighter on my feet. I wasn't always light. Like Daily Show, the way that we constructed content at the Daily Show made my comedy more analytical about why something and what something, and here's the side of the issue that you didn't consider. Whereas with Have I Got News, it's just a quick joke and you can get in and get out. You can make your point without having to drill all the way down to the core of a particular issue. And I think what I've enjoyed about this show is that we're not here to solve the problem. And we haven't shouldered ourselves with that, or to really get into the deeper pain or the humanity of it, which is, Daily Show was a totally different program with different joke vehicles within. You could bury a lot more humanity. We don't have time. We got to get to the baby pictures. We got to Victoria Beckham is tripping at the wedding. We got to find out what happened. So for us, for me, it's made me realize that you can have fun within this stuff again, which I don't know. I never defaulted to that because that's what the Daily Show demanded, to be good at that job. And so inherently, that's what my stand-up became, because it was two totally different, kind of disciplines. And two disciplines, but creatively, I had to attack it the same way. And then I'll sit and I will, because I come in before them, and I know what the show is, right? And I know the topics, and I'm thinking of my own jokes, and I'm trying to slip them in when I can. I don't really get that real estate within the show because you got 4 other mouths to kind of service. I'll think that I've thought of every possible angle, and the moment I open my mouth, Amber will say something that is completely to the left that I would have never even thought about, and now that's slowly starting to change my creative DNA, because I'm just in awe of Michael and Amber, because I know for a fact they're coming off the cuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had 4 hours with this shit before you, and I still couldn't top that joke. There's just a level of brilliance in that. So you just have to be willing to be free and fire and constantly fire jokes. And that's the new thing that I'm learning.
I will say, though,
from
it's been
hosting.
interesting watching you grow as the host, because I think you take that responsibility of host really seriously, and I will watch Roy serving up opportunities for every other person on that panel, which is the mark of a good host. Roy has his jokes, and Roy always gets his jokes and gets them in a really sort of sly and funny way. But what has been impressed me about watching him grow as a host is seeing how he's serving the show as a whole rather than serving himself as a comedian. And that's been really both fun to watch and also just educational for me. Just to watch somebody getting good at that role has been great.
And I also like the
Are you still here, Amber?
We were told that you had to leave.
Talk about your show. Plug your show. We want to hear about
Well,
it.
that was one of our next questions. Somebody's asking what each of you are up to outside of the show. Amber, you've got what, Off-Broadway's Bigfoot?
Oh, yeah. Me and my goofy little friends wrote a musical called Bigfoot, about Bigfoot. And it's been rattling around for years. And it's about how a corrupt mayor uses Bigfoot as a scapegoat, to make money off his town. And I was like, that's happening right now. We gotta hurry up and put the show up. It's terrifyingly topical. So it's going to be up at New York City Center Stage 1 starting February the something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we open on March 1st.
Wow.
So it's cute and it's fun. And the songs are actual nice songs instead of weird Broadway songs. And you don't know what is next. We don't do that shit. It's a real group.
Is there an I Want song?
Yes, there is.
Okay, you gotta have the I Want
I
song.
will say that I have seen Amber's Bigfoot. It is a delight. It is a goddamn delight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Michael, you joined no less than James Gunn's DC Universe.
All right.
As news anchor Clevis Thornwaite.
Yes, I am in.
Told us nothing about it either.
No
And
way.
We're in a group chat. The three of us are in a group chat, and we talk on a pretty regular basis. Said nothing.
So you were in the theater and you're watching? And
Yeah, I'm like,
I work with him.
they cast the right guy for this one.
They cast the right guy to pay a real scumbag.
Safe to say we might see you pop up again?
I think that's safe to say, yes. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't plug my Snacks podcast, Mike and Tom Eat Snacks, with my good friend Tom Cavanaugh, which we do every week.
Oh, we love Tom Cavanaugh.
He's terrific.
He's a funny SOB.
He is. He really is.
And you just eat snacks on it.
We eat snacks, yeah. That's it.
Disgusting.
And we've been doing it for 15 years.
Do you
We
have,
eat
a, do, you
snacks.
have a current recommendation? What's new and hot on the snacks? Scene?
I will say we've been on a run of terrible snacks lately. freeze-dried gummy worms. If you get the opportunity, do not try.
No.
Terrible.
No.
Absolutely terrible.
No.
And then yesterday, I did a podcast called Delish to promote the Mike and Tom Eat Snacks podcast. And on that podcast, they had this thing from Progresso, the soup people, called Soup Drops. So it's
No.
literally little,
The Willy
little,
Wonka thing?
yeah, like little candy soups, like
Yeah.
bouillon in candy form. It is, I'm telling you, it is among the most disgusting things I've ever put in my mouth. And I have put some horrible things in my mouth.
So we've heard.
Yeah.
And Roy,
Wow, that's disgusting.
Roy, you mentioned the barbershop series you're doing. How's that going?
Yeah, we're pretty good. 8 episodes, so we're taping in Chicago right now. And like, I got to give Amazon credit. You know, they're taking the old barbershop IP that Ice Cube and everybody said the Entertainer established, and then just doing a whole TV series that continues the story with the next generation of barbers that occupy that space. And it's fun because it's not what the old barbershop series was, and like, we are only here for social commentary and we're going to tell you about the black community. It's just more about the community at large. A lot of the show lives outside the shop too. So I just thought it would be something cool to do, and it's
That's a
been
great
fun.
cast, and you just guest cast Ego from
Yeah, Ego
SNL.
Wodum, Zach Fox is in the mix. Titus Burgess is over there. Jermaine Fowler's the star of it, and it's just they've committed to being there in Chicago, casting Chicago locals, exteriors in Chicago in January.
Nice.
Because in a way, the misery of Chicago in the cold, it's a character as much as like the sexiness of Miami.
Yeah.
And so that helps to embody the story that they're trying to tell. But, you know, I'm excited for it. I know people get all humdrum about IP getting, you know, resurfaced and remixed. There's Us. It's a Different World. They're running that back on Netflix. But I just think a lot of these companies now, a lot of the streamers, they're just using this existing IP as a way to springboard something new that doesn't even feel like the thing that you're fearing that they're going to compare it to, which was part of the reason that I was very excited about doing this show, was because nobody else was trying to do panel anymore. I think Amazon had something in development like 2 years before you.
A thing called Mock the Week, which is a UK show.
Yeah.
But that, you see, the difference between Mock the Week and Have I Got News for You is, as you said before, Roy, is that, you know, apart from the host's script, the questions and answers, everything is extemporized. It's a funny conversation between 5 smart people about the news. Whereas with Mock the Week, it's a good show, but a lot of it, the comedians came on with written material. And I think it doesn't have the kind of energy or the danger of the high wire act that what you guys are doing, which is basically it's improv. You know,
Yeah, it's a Senor Yuck Yucks Comedy Club with a theme.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how we like
Yeah.
to think of ourselves, as Senior Yuck Yucks Comedy Club.
But yeah, that was part of the appeal of the show to me, was that, okay, we're going to try and do something a little different with the format, because I felt like I was around during peak political satire late night, where I think pre-COVID, there was maybe 11 shows. Like if you go Sam B and Larry Wilmore and Wyatt Cenac and Kamau Bell, like there was a plethora of shows of people telling you what's right and what's wrong about the world. And structurally, there was a lot of concentric circles in how they presented their content. And I was like, oh, this is not on anywhere right now. And it's on the Weird channel that doesn't do that. So it'll either be the greatest thing or the worst thing. So I'm in.
And here we are in season
Yeah.
4 and going strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, the show's called Have I Got News for You? And I've actually got news for you watching. We now have a very special announcement. Have I Got News for You? Really appreciates their fans, especially their viewers on YouTube. So today, as a thank you to all their fans, Have I Got News for You is offering a YouTube membership subscription. By becoming a member, you will get early access to videos, discounts on upcoming merchandise, exclusive members-only videos and shorts, future members-only chats and AMAs, and special shout-outs amongst other perks. So take the time to become an exclusive member today on the Have I Got News for You YouTube channel. Why don't you do that and join today? I'd like to give a big thank you to our guests today, Roy Wood Jr., Amber
Thank you.
Ruffin, coming to us from Norway, Michael Ian Black, and Jimmy Mulville, and to all of you who've been watching, commenting, and just being the best damn fans. Do not forget to watch the season 4 premiere of Have I Got News for You tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern on CNN and next day on the CNN app. Comedian Andy Richter and Ankler CEO and editor-in-chief Janice Min will join the panel as this season's first guest. We can't wait to see you there, so tune in tonight.
Thank you, Matt.
Thanks
Thank
again,
you, man.
everybody.
That was great. Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
times.
man.
Thank you.
Good times.
Bye, Amber.
Bye, Amby.
Hi, I love you.
Love you.